Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello. Probably need to put out a note. Hold on, guys. I'm going to put out a note on YouTube. I hope you could still hear me. I hope you can still hear me, but I got to do this thing on YouTube. Do, 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 do. Hello, hello, hello. I need a new intro. I had a good one back when me and Tom started, but I sounded cheesy. It sounded very contrived, you know what I mean? So, yeah. Thank you, Deb, for calling me. And hopefully people will be coming in. I don't know if you can hear me. I hope you can. Could you hear me while I was doing that? While I was putting out my notice? Because if you could, that's pretty cool. Oh yeah, I mean, if it's a small group, it's a small group. I mean, we're on time, right? And loud and clear. That sounds great, Clutch. Thank you. It does like some of it, and Clutch is like loud and clear, Mr. Servant. Oh, I'm so happy to see you guys. I am. And I am very grateful to Deb for calling me because she woke me up. I probably would have woke up, within a few more minutes or something like that, but I'd rather be on time. That's for sure. That's the only thing that I really want. I mean, I want to be perfect if I could. You can't see Deb. Yeah, Clutch can see you. Why can't you see each other? What's going on? No, you have to be able to see Clutch. Clutch has a wrench. You're supposed to be able to see each other. Yeah, something's not right. Do you want me to close? Do you want me to close? Okay, so you just closed it and opened it. Hey, AGM, what's up, my brother? There's my boy Michigander and AJ Blunt. There's Shannon. Hey, Shannon, how you doing? I felt so bad because after I sang that song, right? This is one thing I regret, right? Because we have trolls out there, people that will mess with us, our family. At the end of my song that I sang, right? I read a comment from Cindy that says I hated that song, but she was talking about something else. But it totally made it look like I sang the song and then I was like, oh, Cindy hates it. That's like total Cindy, right? Which isn't really her behavior at all, right? And so it was like I did that, right? And then so anybody that like made comments because of that, right? That I'm sure were innocent. Just innocent people joking, right? And so trolls can sometimes. I'm just trying to get ahead of this. Nobody said nothing, but a lot of times, like evil will get in and try to split us up. And so, yeah, 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 yeah. So, and sometimes, like we joke with each other, and maybe the other person doesn't understand the joke or something like that. But well, my main point is this: is I didn't want to perpetuate Hey Amanda, I didn't want to perpetuate the idea that, I didn't want to, because I read that comment from Cindy and that was unfair. So I did put that on private, not because of any reason of fear or anything like that, right? Just whenever there's a mistake in the thing, in a video, or there's a bad dog or something that I won't promote really, then I put it on private or delete it, which sucks because it was a good show, but I could have a perfect show, and if I say something wrong, right, about God or what, or my doctrine is off or unclear, then I just get rid of it. Yeah, so like I'm sure people made comments after that based off of my comment, right? Like just to be funny, and trolls will run with that, and then make that person feel like it was intentional. And so I know it's not. I know if you guys made comments like that, it was based off of being funny off of that. So I do want. No one else can hear. Can you hear? No, no, I no, I here. I'll put a link and then we can talk about it. I'll put a link, Shannon, because the last thing I want is for it to be unclear. Hold on a second. I got to put a link. So you can hear me? Is Debbie? Something's wrong with your thing. If you can't hear, something's wrong with your phone, I think, or reset it or something. This would be a bad time for your phone to be broken. That's for sure. Okay, let me post this. Debbie saved this day by calling me. Really, I would have been late a few minutes for sure. There is the link. Yeah. No, but like yeah, you never know, man, how these, you know. I don't really watch the trolls, right? So I don't have a good sense of these things, right? But I do know the kind of stuff they would do, like the kind of juvenile crap. Yeah, me too. Shannon does a nice job. Shannon does a really nice job. Like the female Tony. Tom. I said Tony. I said the wrong thing because I was thinking of trolls. So how's everybody doing this Sunday? I'm just waiting for what's her name to join. Did you see the Oh, you got to get the cat off your lap. You got to get the cat off your lap and close the door because the Cold Springs King is still sleeping. I just like that he watches the show. I think it's awesome. Hey, Amanda. I used to see Amanda every single day over at Arwen's. Then Arwen started tripping, man. Yeah, that's my best friend. He's tripping now, man. He's cool, but he's tripping now. All right, hold on, let me get this. Hello, Shannon. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Good morning, Stephen. Happy New Year.
Yes. Is it a Happy New Year again, or is it the second, or I don't even know what it is?
I didn't. I'm just to say it. Yesterday was New Year's Day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Oh,
good.
it
I'm
was a
glad
good.
that. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say it was a good New Year, though. I mean, we hung out and made snacks and desserts, and then just sat and relaxed the rest of the day. So
I
sounds
just
like everybody else took it easy too.
I think about like I think about like all the ways that the date could end up with like all twos in it, or
Oh yeah.
ones and twos, or weird combinations like that, right? Like
Right, right.
February 22nd will be like 6 2, like 2 2 2 two
Yep.
0 2 2, yeah.
And with
And
a
so
with a
you wonder if that's significant.
well, well, first of all, thank you, Sister Deb, for waking you up. I heard you
Oh
say
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Oh, what a
yeah.
blessing. But
It was a humongous blessing, yes.
I was just talking about that yesterday with my husband because he has always been a big fan of the band Rush, right? Loves
Okay, yeah,
Rush.
yeah, yes,
Oh
yes,
my
I know.
God. And I told him, I said, when I was a kid, I had a cassette tape of their album, and I don't know if you've ever seen the cover of it. Now it's totally scary to me, but it's the 2112, right? That's the
Yeah,
name of the album. And I asked him, I was like, what does 2112 mean? And he started saying, he's like, what if 2112 is the year that, this happens? And that's when they complete, because there's songs on it that talk about like the concept of people that don't know anything about what a guitar is. I don't know if you've ever heard the songs on it. This was way before like we were looking for the occultic symbols in songs and entertainment. But the song describes a man who finds a guitar and he's like, "What is this thing?" And he shows it to, you know, I guess the old elders or the leaders, and they're afraid of it, so they smash it up. And so music is not a thing in 2112. And then I thought, well, what if it's a different meaning, not just the year, right?
yeah, I could
And
see
it,
another one.
so, out of curiosity, I got on my phone last night and looked up Rush 2112 meaning or something like that. And all this other stuff popped up that scared the hell out of me. I guess like 2112 is an angel of some sort. I'm not even kidding. I started reading that and I was like, yeah, yeah, no, never mind. Let's just not go
Well, think
there.
about this, right? 2112, right? So it's 2 1 1 2, and so
Right?
it would be a 3 and a 3, right?
Oh,
Yeah, could be that.
oh.
Could be a lot of different things. Sometimes
No,
they'll
that's so
they'll
interesting. I'm so gonna tell him that. He's
well,
gonna like,
it blows mine.
yeah,
Sometimes there's symbolism that is like a couple of levels deep. Like
yeah,
it'll be like the surface symbolism, then some deeper. Yeah,
yeah.
Deb
There's
said it too.
and if you hear the
Um,
songs, it's kind of like, okay,
well, hey,
like,
I'll tell you what. I'll if you still listen to music, right?
yeah,
But be aware when you are listening to it to listen for what it's really saying, right? But I would say all songs are like that.
yeah,
Like you at the time you didn't think of it like that, but
no,
now that
totally.
you know what you know, right? They're all like the biblical, or they mock you in some kind of way.
Yes. And
It's
that's funny
crazy.
because I love music. I'll sit there and I love listening to like my old 80s and 90s jams while I'm commuting to work and stuff. And then, but ever since like I've converted and started learning more, especially about um, the symbolisms and the hidden meanings, I start hearing things, especially like, remember old R&B songs, you know?
Yeah.
Girl, I wanna lick you up and
Oh
down
God. Yeah.
till
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
say stop. And I'm like, oh, 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 oh.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I used to love this song, but
I know.
ooh,
You
you
used
kind
to
of
got there
cringe.
singing it. Oh, I know. I know it. I mean, now I'm embarrassed by it, right? But back
Yeah,
then, I was singing it, and you know,
yeah.
and
Like I'm
I
gonna
mean,
make a cassette tape and send this to this girl, or does just like
right.
I used to get cassette tapes. Here's a funny song or a funny story. I broke up with a boy in sixth grade, and he
Poor
sent me a
guy.
cassette tape afterwards, and it was that song "You're So Vain." You're so vain.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah,
only think the song is about you. You're
yeah.
so vain. And he recorded it on the tape. all again and again and again and again, all the way through the first side and all the way through the second side, and that
You mean the
was
whole tape was full of
the
that?
whole cassette tape was just that song.
Oh,
It was the
wow.
best, like, middle finger, I guess, because I was
Yeah,
terrible.
poor
So,
guy.
but
Maybe what if
still.
you devastated him? Like he's all devastated.
And then I think he went through the angry phase
Oh,
after that, and then was like, "I'm gonna make her a tape."
yeah. I can see
Eh,
the wheels going in the brain. I know
yeah.
what I'm gonna do.
Oh, mixtapes, right?
'Cause
Clutch,
it used to
clutch.
take forever to make a mixtape because you had to listen to every single song all the way through
Right?
to make the tape, right? Like you couldn't it wasn't just like, oh, click, 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 add those songs.
Yeah.
It was a lot of
It's so
work.
much easier. You can't just drag and drop it now and rearrange it, you know? And
Right,
so,
right. No, you're right about that.
oh.
Oh, hey, Tom is here.
You know
Hey,
what, Tom?
Tom, you want to come up and talk with us?
Yeah. I'd love to hear Tom first thing in the morning talk about
Yeah,
the Bible.
on
I love
on
you,
Sunday.
Tom.
Hey, it's rare to have Tom on a Sunday, man. I don't want to. I look. I don't want to stress. I want to stress how rare this actually is. I think I've seen Tom on a Sunday maybe one other time, ever. The only times I see Tom on a Sunday are,
Oh,
oh,
he
you
can't
can't
on
get
the
on the
phone.
phone. Oh,
Aw,
okay.
bummer. But you know what, Tom? I did talk about that movie with my husband. He did look it up. We have the option to purchase it online. So he wants to watch it with me. So I think we're gonna wait until we have a quiet night where we both can sit down and watch it. Otherwise, yes, we have found it. We haven't watched it yet. So stay tuned.
Nice. What movie was that?
Anon. He suggested last time he was on with you, he suggested a movie called Anon, and
Okay,
I want to look it up and or I want to watch that. So we're just gonna wait till
sounds
we have a
good.
time for both of us to watch it because when I was talking about it with Bobby, he was like, Bobby loves these. In fact, he has this book that he's reading, and it's very interesting the take on the symbolisms and
Yeah,
concepts of today's government. But he's like a big, he used to be what's called a conspiracy theorist. Now
yeah.
people just call them fortune tellers because, I mean,
Well, I'll
everything's
tell you
coming
what.
true.
Well, theorists now. I mean, I mean, it's just you're a truther at this point because
Yeah,
almost all of them except for like aliens and a couple other weird ones. You know, like now that we know what all that is now, right? Like,
right.
it's like all these different conspiracies were true or didn't happen at all. You know.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
we're all going back and forth. Who did this? Who shot who? Right? And maybe the whole thing didn't happen.
yeah.
This is what's
And
insane. So check this out. The first time I saw a video by a guy that I respect pretty well, right? Where I would take his word for it, but I still did more research, right?
right.
And the first time I heard that the Kennedy thing, it was possible that it never happened at all, right? It
Ah,
blew my mind. I'm like, no way, man, they would never do that. Then I started thinking, right, about all the things that all the fake crap, right, big fake crap, right, and I'm like, man, this is really a possibility. Now I'm at the
it,
point where I don't think it happened at all.
it's hard to wrap your mind around it because you've been so indoctrinated to believe anything they tell you.
Right?
You're indoctrinated to trust your teachers, trust your worship leaders, trust all those people. If they're an adult, you should
Yeah,
trust them. Then
yeah.
you become an adult and you find out how really corrupt a lot of adults can be, and you're like, well, how do I know
Uh,
my fourth grade teacher really knew what she was talking about?
it's so disappointing, isn't it, when you reach
Yeah,
adulthood and you really like when you're a kid, you feel so safe and you
yeah.
think everybody's got things under control. You got scientists, you got
Oh, yeah.
doctors, they're all working on it, you know? They're got
Nowadays,
oh, they
when
got
they tell you a
politicians.
scientist says something, you're just like, well, then it must not be true. Like,
Right, right.
who is he being
Well,
paid from, and who's paying this guy to say that?
right. No, exactly. No, exactly. Or
You
like
know?
or like you'll see these movies, right, with these like military leaders doing all this dynamic stuff and like, making
Yep.
decisions and being questioned for their integrity all the time, right?
Right.
And when you really see how a unit is run, you're like, oh, that's not
Yeah.
like on TV.
Yeah.
There's no there's no morals here. Like what is going on?
This guy is a tool.
Right.
Why is he a colonel?
Right. Well, it's obvious, right? They're a liar, or they know somebody, or they got dirt on somebody else, or
That's so true. I've seen some captains and colonels that were such insecure little kids in a
yeah.
man's
Oh
body or a
yeah,
woman's body, and I'm just like, "Oh my God." I've actually seen situations where a young airman actually, you know how some people just carry that air of authority, like they,
yeah.
not that they come down bearing on people, but they just seem to, people just
Confident.
gravitate.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
absolutely.
I've seen a young 25-year-old airman like suggest something and everybody just started doing it, even the officers, even the officers turned and like, "That's a great idea, airman, let's all." Yeah. And but as long as the officer, I guess, is humble enough to follow as well in an eloquent way, it makes for a good dynamic. But you know what I'm talking about. There are just some
Yeah,
people that are,
insecure.
yeah,
Yeah.
and some are made to lead and some are not. And I've seen the ones that are not made to lead in leadership roles, and I'm just like, oh my God, we are gonna die. You know, like, like, this
No, but
guy's gonna lead
you're
us
not
into the
joking.
wrong. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like my life is in his hands. Are you kidding me right now? But
very
we made
scary.
it. We made it though. Yay. So,
Right. To live to
well,
tell. Maybe there's some stories I could tell you offline that would blow your mind.
yeah, let's
But
share stories sometime. That'll be fun.
I don't
So,
know what I'm allowed to share, what I'm not allowed to share. That I got to be clear on.
well,
But
maybe Veterans Day.
so
We'll
like everything is not exactly what we thought. Like they present a very good game, like how doctors are, how politicians are,
Oh
military
yeah.
units, right? Now this is what I do know, right? Is anytime I did something with another unit, right, where it required two or three units to be cooperating with each other, it
Oh
it could
yeah.
be, let's say, even a barbecue, right? It took forever to get things wrong, because something would go wrong, or people would not do their thing, or it was very difficult to get. The logistics it wasn't smooth. Let's put it that way. It was
Right,
never
right.
smooth. It was always way more complicated than it had to be. I
Yeah.
mean, there would be memorandums written about potato chips,
Yeah.
like like
More
this
people
is
willing to bring
crazy.
buns than burgers.
Right, right, exactly. Yeah. And so when this thing came out, right, with the scamdemic, right?
Yes.
It when they said that the whole world was on board, no dissenting opinions at all, right? Every country is on board, no dissenting opinions. Not one
Right.
country said, no, I'm going to do it my way, or, blah, 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 right? Everyone fell in line. No one had their own opinion. Boom. In 1 week, the world was shut down. And they decided that, they're going to get the juice
Yeah.
distributed to everybody within a year, right?
Yeah.
No way, man.
Yeah. I remember when it first started, I remember working, I managed the morgue over at the medical center here in Reno.
Yeah.
I've said this so many times in numerous videos. I was the one looking at the cause of death, and I'm just like, well, wait a minute. Like, but this guy's already 90 and he had end stage dementia. Everybody was already everybody was already at their end game, and then they had just happened to be diagnosed with it. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, are they just using these people to create?
Yes.
a panic. And even you'd be surprised how much of the staff even saw it. They're like, it's the flu. The flu can kill a person at 85 years old when their immune system's already compromised.
Oh
It,
yeah.
that's, and just they went,
But
we've
you
talked about this
but you'd
endlessly.
have to have like, like they said 2.5 comorbidities, meaning you got to
Yeah.
have two and a half more, deadly illnesses you're already dealing with to die of,
Yeah.
on average to die of the flu, right? And I
And
like how we're saying flu right now.
And then on the flip side, now that
Yeah.
I work in the funeral business and I'm seeing what happens after they leave the morgue,
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing how many families are talking to me about, okay, we're going to careful with the words. We're going to, the people that have already passed, their loved ones. They're there to make arrangements for their cremation or burial. And some of them are downright angry. They're like, well, they got the clot shot in February and the second phase of it, like in June, they're talking about the boosts, right? And they're still being diagnosed as a death from testing positive. And
That's horrible.
the families, some of them are just so they're challenging the doctors. One lady is outright suing the hospital because she feels that it was the clot shot that killed her husband. And
Yeah.
she made a very, very interesting point to me when she was in the arrangement. This was only a couple weeks ago, like before I quit this one. Um,
Hold on one
she
second.
said, go
Hold on
ahead.
one second. Tom, we're just using the word flu in place of the thing.
Yeah,
All right, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry about that. I just
yeah.
wanted to make it clear for
I
everybody.
don't I don't
Uh,
like to say woo flu because I know they're, I'm Asian and
I
I
mean,
get
doesn't
it,
it
but
suck, man?
but
Everything's got to have a connotation on it,
yeah,
like why can't we just like, oh my, you know what? Forget it.
yeah.
Forget it. Because
Well,
we say the same things. Why can't we just get along? Why can't we just be human beings? Why can't we just,
yeah, say it
like
for what it is.
it's the same old rhetoric that we want to do, right? But which is not rhetoric to us, right? We're like, come on, guys, get over the crap, right?
Yeah. And
But
we have
there'll
to make
always
up all
be,
these other words to get around this censorship. It's fun.
yeah,
Anyways,
and there'll
it
always
definitely
be,
exercises creativity, doesn't it?
but there'll always be like a group of people, right, that are just, the opposite of us, right? Or even
Yeah.
evil. I don't even like to call people good or bad. I don't. But there is a section of people that are evil that think evil stuff. And
Yeah.
why are they more convincing than we are to the middle people? You
Because they're
know,
louder. They raise more
uh,
hell. What's that phrase? A squeaky wheel gets the oil. I
yeah,
don't know. When you make yourself more known, I think half the time people just go with it to get them to shut up. I mean, it
yeah,
just seems I've seen
true.
that happen. But let me finish this thought real quick.
Go
The
ahead. Yes,
lady
of
that I
course.
talked
Sorry.
to, she said something very interesting. She felt that this whole variant thing and the boosties, right,
Yeah.
that they keep coming out with, she asked me, she goes, it kind of makes me wonder, do you think maybe that these these variants that they keep talking about are a way to just cover up the fact that the boosties and the clot shots are killing the people? And I kind of
Yeah.
stopped and I thought, well, until we know for sure, that is an interesting concept. It's just, if
I
if
think,
they're just making up this whole variant thing,
yeah, of
because
course.
their whole clot shot plan is failing, then
Yeah,
it's just never going to end. There's just going to
that's
be
right.
more variants coming, and then there's going to be more mistakes, and the experiments are just going to keep failing,
That's
and
right.
we're going to pay the price for it. The
Absolutely.
people are, not we, because I know you and
No,
me, we're not going to be part of that agenda.
right, but that's exactly it. I think before it even started, right, these variants are built into their thing,
Yeah.
like they're 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 there, right, because they want to keep people getting those the poker, right,
Yep.
and they want to keep putting rules and tighter infrastructure on us, right? And
Oh
so they
yeah.
call it, the quickest way to get us to conform to to less freedom, having less freedom, right? Is
Yeah.
there's some kind of health crisis or something to fear, right?
Of course. Yeah.
So, they tried to do it with riots and they tried to do it with, with all these other things, right?
Yeah.
Uh, to try to get martial law in there, right? And they're going to get it eventually, right? Because I mean, look at Australia. The only
Oh,
thing
I
maybe,
know.
yeah, and it's sad, right? But the only thing holding them back from doing that here is just because people have guns, right? Like,
Yeah.
if
And that's why they're trying to take that away soon too. They're
absolutely,
attacking that left and right. Because if we can't
absolutely,
defend ourselves, well, there's two incidents in history I remember reading about where they took away the guns first and then they took the people. One of them was the Jews
yeah,
during before the
that's
Holocaust,
right, right
and then
before,
the other
yep,
one were the Native Americans here in America before they just started taking their lands.
that's right,
And Clutch made a very interesting point on the chat because they hide in position of authority pretending to be good. Could it be that those who have had the Jabba Dabba Do have lost their immune system? And that's funny you said that, Clutch, because my husband's mentioned that it seems like this juice is making people more sick because maybe it's crippling our immune system.
sure,
I don't know. I don't know the answer, but all these what ifs, man. I
yeah,
could
it's a
sit
lot
I
of
could
what
sit
if.
and what if the hell out of you all day. I could
Hey,
I'm
Bubba, how
like,
you doing? What?
Bubba,
Glad you're here. Yeah, Bubba's here.
Sunday, what the sun looks like, let me know.
Yeah, I know. I haven't been outside in forever, probably
We're
days, right?
like
And
pasty people.
well, okay, so I tried to do a shortcut the other day, right? Because I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, whenever I get pancakes, right? Back to the pancakes. Like whenever I order pancakes, it's $25 for pancakes or $30, right? I'm like,
Oh my
why do I order?
gosh.
Why do I? Because I got to order enough for them to even deliver it, right? And so it's
Yeah.
pancakes all day. If I decide to eat pancakes, it's pancakes all day for me. And
Oh my
so,
god.
yeah, I know, but sometimes it's good to indulge when you don't eat sugar at all the time. Sometimes you need a day like that, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so I'm trying to space it out or never do it again. But then I was like, well, let me see what Amazon has, right? So I ordered these pancakes, right? I'm like, oh wow, look at all these pancakes I can get for $30, man. It's like a
Wait, you
whole
can
bunch of
order pancakes? You can
yeah,
order
but
pancakes on Amazon? Are they
yeah,
like
but
frozen or
yeah,
something?
yeah, and they're even individually wrapped,
Oh my
right?
god.
And so it was like six, six,
Tom.
six. It was six pancakes times 10, 10 packs, so that's 60, right? And 60 pancakes for like $30.
60 pancake.
So
Steven, why don't
now
you buy pancake mix and just make it?
I don't know. I'm dumb. But check this
Okay.
out. So they got here. So they got here, right? And I opened up a couple pancakes, right? And I microwaved them or whatever. Horrible. The worst. It was like
Really?
eating. It was like what you can picture, like the Hostess version of a pancake.
Uh,
Yeah, very, very sugary, not
uh.
healthy.
It just
Yeah,
kind of
but
makes your mouth all pasty. You ever eat that stuff that's just so cheap?
yeah,
It creates like a
very.
film inside the lining of your
Well,
mouth, and you're just like, ugh.
I wouldn't say it's like that. It's more like eating like a Twinkie,
Oh, yeah.
like a
Too much
very
sugar?
yeah, like a non-food item is what it tastes
Oh.
like. Like this is not
Tom
food.
Tom says he's craving pancakes now. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, good
I am
pancakes,
too.
right? Like when
I
you
am
got
too.
like, so here's the thing. I'm not like, look, I'm not promoting pancakes. I'm not like giving anyone advice, right?
Why? You
I would,
should.
right, but this is what I'll say. No, this for your body, I would probably stay away from it, right? And just
Right.
just completely. But there's nothing better to me
Yeah. Yeah.
than like, two big old fluffy pancakes that are a couple inches thick and got vanilla
Oh
chips
my
in them or
God.
cranberry or something, special on it, where you're just
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
wow, like a special like fruit compote or something, or I
Yeah.
like that kind of stuff.
Tom's
Blueberry
right. He's going
pancakes.
to make pancakes after the show. And I'm not going to lie. You're sitting here talking about pancakes, and I'm thinking, I have mix
Right.
in the cabinet. I have bacon in the fridge. I think I might make some bacon and pancakes for my son and I. Blueberry pancakes, Tom. That's the same as my husband. He
Yeah.
loves the blueberry pancake syrup. I like to put peanut butter on my pancakes sometime. Little peanut
Yeah.
butter, a little syrup. I know some people
A
it's
little bit of
sacrilegious,
peanut.
but
I've never heard of that.
oh
Little
yeah,
peanut
because
butter
I
and put
want
a
to.
little.
Yeah, get
Wow.
yourself a little protein on there. And if it doesn't have maple syrup, it ain't a pancake. Yeah, that's for sure.
Wow.
Vitality. Mm,
Hey, hey, Vitaly, how you doing?
let's see.
It's
Blueberry
good.
pancakes. Yeah. Oh
But
my
yeah,
God.
so there's so many. I mean, like now that I think about all the different waves they come at us, right?
Oh
Now,
yeah.
now I've also thought about this, right? Because of during Blind 11, right, in 2001, right, in September,
Oh God.
with the buildings, right?
That makes
So,
me angry thinking
right,
about that.
of course. I mean, it's the worst possible thing, right?
Yeah.
But check this out, right? So the day before that, you know, $2.3 trillion goes missing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And nobody ever talks about that. Nobody ever talks about, because there was even contention about the election, right?
Yep.
So there was contention about between Gore and Bush, right? The Florida hanging Chad, right? So there was
Right.
a lot of talk going on about the election. Then this thing with the money came out. There was a couple other things going on too around that time, and then the event happened, right? That
Yeah.
it completely ended people talking about the election. Nobody even talked. I don't even
It was like
remember.
a woohoo, look over here, guys, look over here. And people did.
Exactly my point, right?
Yeah.
So whenever there's something big everyone's looking at one thing, one event, right? I wonder just how much is going on in the background, right? And
Oh
so
yeah.
now I'm starting to wonder how it splits off into it even splits off into like separate rabbit holes, right? Where you're like, I wonder which ones are psyops or not psyops, right? Like
Yeah.
with the juice, right? Like there's a lot of good evidence for this, in this nanotech stuff. And then there's also a lot of good evidence for like gene editing and that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Or the third option is there's just a lot of stuff in there that doesn't need to be in your body, right? And
Right.
so there's even that aspect. It's just not good for you, right? And so I wonder if they put out these separate or all together, right? That could be all together, right? But I
Right.
wonder if they put out these separate, lines of thinking to get us to go down a line of thinking that is not real, so they could easily debunk it.
Oh, absolutely. It's Clutch just said classic bait and switch. And
Yeah,
it almost creates a real distrust for anything happening around us. I kind of feel like anytime you remember was it there was all those protests, and then there was a shooting down in Dallas, and the officers were killed, and it was during the whole Trump and anti-Trump thing. Then, and I remember thinking we were watching it on television. My husband and I, Bobby was kind of like, I think somebody just shot a cop down at
oh
the
wow.
protest, and we were talking about how stupid people are. Like the cops are there to protect you, and then you're going to go shoot them. And it was actually one of those protests about defunding the police, I believe. It was
Yeah,
something against the law enforcement. And here's the thing: my husband, Bobby, all of a sudden he kind of stopped and he looked at me. He goes, "I wonder what's really going on." Like
yeah,
in the sense that this is all over the news now. What are they hiding that this is distracting us from? And I kind of stopped and I was like, it's almost scary to think that they have to use something like this to keep us from looking at what's really going on and what is really going on. It kind of scares me to think, and anyways, just a thought. I mean, my
It,
husband is quite the keen observer when it comes to media, and it's frightening sometimes.
it's absolutely frightening, like I never thought in a million years that the government or
We'd be
anybody
here.
in authority would do anything to hurt us, intentionally.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's terrifying. you know
Yeah. Yeah.
it's terrifying to think that it goes on and then people find out. We're critical thinkers. Eventually we'll find out, right? And there's no repercussions
Well,
for that.
the problem is, brother, there's
Yeah,
so many people, so many more people out there that are not critical thinkers. They're just
yeah,
sheep.
that
And
is
if
the
you
problem.
allow them to herd you like sheep, they will try to herd all of us. People have to stop and just stop taking the shit from these globalists and whoever's telling us all this crap and the media and but then we have the majority who are sitting there like, yeah, I better wear my mask. It's like, oh my god, stop it. I just wonder if a lot of these people that sit there and obey and obey and obey, are they doing it because they're genuinely ignorant about what's really happening, or are they doing it because they're too afraid to face the truth? You know what I mean? Are they just
Yeah,
cowards and they just don't want to hear it? Because it almost sounds like some
some
people are
people,
like, "Well,
yeah,
I don't like to argue." Well, then don't
yeah,
argue, but don't freaking just bow down and bend over and take
right.
it. Just stand up for yourself and say, "No, I'm not going to go there because I don't want to wear a mask. I don't walk into my VA appointments because I'm not going to wear the mask,
It
I'm just
sucks,
not going to
man.
do it."
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm so ashamed about, like, because I
Oh,
I have to
don't
go to
be.
the
I know
services,
you
right?
have to go. Yeah, I
Well,
know.
and this is what's crazy, right? Like okay, I'll even have it like under my chin or something. I mean, you can always get away with it. You don't have to have it on, but just the fact that I'm even playing the game, right? Does it
Yeah.
really make a big difference if I got it off or
You
under
feel
my
like they're getting
chin?
the best of you when you're wearing
Yeah,
that
it's like
mask.
there's no difference, right? Because I'm gonna walk around with a bottle of water and act like I'm drinking it, right? I'm gonna do that, right? And
And then
so,
you have to
like,
pee.
yeah, of course, but like I'm definitely not gonna have that thing over my face, right? But it's like humiliating, It is,
I know.
and so it's like, okay, well, I gotta be in line to get my meds, right? And so
Yeah.
that's something I gotta do, right? And so I
But how
really, and
long how long until they deny you that because you're not vaccinated?
you know what? Then I'm just gonna have to deal with it at that point, right?
Yeah.
Because I've already chosen, right? And I've thought about all the situations, right? And I'm like, I'm just not going to do this. This is the hill I'm dying on.
Yeah.
Even if it was
I
this,
almost want to say the F word like F and A. Just
well, I mean,
that's
it's got
right, Stephen, though. You're
you got to
right.
pick, you got to pick something, right? I probably should have picked this mask thing, but I don't know if it's so difficult,
No,
right? But
I
it's like
know.
so the poke was like where I draw the line. I don't want you to put anything in my body, right?
Right.
Once you
Not going to
breach
take
my
the mark of the
skin,
beast.
yeah, I'm not gonna let anybody breach my skin. Like, I don't even want to wear your stupid thing under my chin, right? Like 10 minutes a week, right? That I gotta wear it.
My
That's
beard is
already
not
humiliating.
contagious.
Well, and here's the thing, that's not even real, man. Let's be
No, I
honest. It's
know.
not even real, man. And so what happens is, there's healthy people out there. They wear this mask. They some of them are dirty. They got it on their car seat, right? They wear it 4 or 5 times, right? They get bacterial pneumonia. They go to the hospital. They get ventilators put in, and they die, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for all
And
the good that it did, they still die.
right, and then you got to think, right? We're in a financial crisis. There's no doubt about that. The economy will pop eventually, right? It's fractional reserve banking. We're 30 trillion in debt. It will
Right.
pop. It cannot keep going. That's just how math works, right? We're at a point in Monopoly where they're just giving us money so we can go around the board one more time. Like
Oh,
they
jeez.
have it all. It's over, right? And
Yeah.
so the only way, right, to reset it obviously is to get rid of the people that are dependent on the money, right? And keep the people that make the money, right?
Yes.
And so obviously, certain age groups don't get the poke, and certain age groups do get the poke, right? And
Yeah.
so um, every time I've gotten sick in my life, right, it's always been because like I got it from my kids, because
Yeah.
they're
Yeah,
always
that's
touching
true.
me,
My
right?
son always brought something boogery home and gave it to
Right,
us.
right. So why would this be different? Like,
It's
why would there be just automatically something that doesn't make people I mean, it's just so stupid, man.
yeah.
And so
And
it's so
and
obvious what's happening, right? Like, okay, so they're trying to straighten it out so that the financial reset won't be too bad, right? Then
right.
they're also setting it up to where to make you weaker, and they're also setting it up to where they can plug you into the thing, the metaverse, right?
I see them setting it up to make people dependent on the system. It
Yes,
like you have all these people that need assistance now. They need financial
absolutely.
assistance. And then the sad thing is it's not that they were forced into the situation financially. They were indoctrinated or convinced mentally that they need the system because there's plenty other options for people to become financially independent. We were talking on the last live stream, and the chat was talking about, remember good old neighbor to neighbor trading and becoming
Yeah,
independent of the government.
bartering.
That's
Yes,
exactly the opposite of what the government is doing now. They're trying to convince people they need the government, and we don't freaking need the government. We
we
don't
don't.
need welfare. We don't need that crap.
Well, if I asked you, okay, point to the government, right? Like,
Yeah.
where would you? Who is it? That's what the building in Washington with 200 people in it.
Yeah, right.
Like, come on, man. It's not that many people, man. It's
Well,
obviously
did you
you don't
see?
get
You saw that picture I sent you about the apartments in Hong Kong? They're living like sardines. It was just like a huge stack of buildings that are like an inch from each other.
a lot
And
of countries are like that.
yeah, I was about to say a lot of countries are like that, and the system is growing.
Yeah, and
It's,
they got ghost cities, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
so they got all these cities with nobody in it, right? And they
yeah,
got people crammed together. It doesn't need to be like that. There's enough
right,
room. Okay, so this always blew my mind, right? They say there's 8 or 9 billion people or whatever, right? I don't
right.
believe that. I think it's far less than that. But let's take their number, right? And
Okay,
we know the square miles of certain places, right? So they
yeah.
they said that in Texas, right? It's a pretty big state, that everybody in the world could fit in Texas and have 1,000 square feet of a place.
Well,
Everybody in the
that's
world can
about the
fit in
size of my
Texas.
house.
Yeah, and I was like, no way, that can't be right. But it is, it's right. And so
If
there's no overpopulation, even if with their big wild number, right? Which I do not believe, right? Um, I think there's more like 1 billion people, if that.
Well,
And
especially with the way they're killing off everyone with the clot shot, there will be a lot less people too.
I think
But
after I think after all that is said and done, right? There might, maybe
and
half a billion.
yeah, don't hate me for saying this, but I almost feel like those people deserve it. It feels like they're asking for their own tyranny, and people are voting
Yeah,
in their own. They're voting out gun laws, and they don't understand that
I see
they're
what you're
just giving away
saying.
their freedom, and
I, I see what
it's
you're saying.
frustrating.
They kind of deserve to lose their freedoms because they're giving it
They
away, and
asked
it's just
for it,
them. But then, like,
and
I also look at it like this, right? And maybe this will, because it took me a while to look at it like this too, right? But people have been brainwashed and messed
yeah,
up. They're like, it's a miracle we popped out and can accept things that are even. I know truthers right now that can't accept that they're not on a flying water ball in a vacuum, right?
Right.
It's hard, right? It's hard to get your money. So while yes, it is their fault, they at some point you got to be a grown up, right, and start to think, right? Like it is their fault, right? But do they deserve it? I don't know, man. Like it's tough for me to say that, right? Because it's like,
It
well,
is.
I don't know, and nobody deserves to die. Obviously, I
I
know
know.
you're
I
you're
I
not
don't
saying
want to
that.
say that about people. I don't. It just
It's
like it's like
frustrating.
Tom mentioned earlier in the chat something about watching people drive around by themselves in their cars with a mask on. I
Yeah,
just I just see that and I'm like I see people out for a walk, right? You ever talk to somebody and like, "Let's go get some fresh air, Steven. Let's go for a walk." But then let's
yeah.
put a mask on. It's just like I see people walking around, walking their dog outside, like they're like 50 feet away from anything else, and they're wearing a
Yeah.
mask. It's like, why didn't you put a mask on your freaking dog too? I mean, just let's
People will
just
do that. People
let's
will do
just
that.
enhance the pony show. Why not? And it's so
Yeah.
and it's so over the top to me, but that's the sort of thing that makes me look at people and be like,
Well, I think,
you're the reason I have to deal with this all, when I go into the grocery store, because you're compliant. You're such a good little obedient sheep, and
yeah.
like I can feel the anger rising up in me right now when I think about that stuff, and I don't want to be that person. It's
Well, this
just
is okay. So think about this, right? This will help you. If you could think about it like this, it'll help you emotionally not feel as bad, right? So
yeah,
this is what I started doing is like, okay, I don't view those people as bad or whatever. Okay, they're sick. They're
yeah.
they're brainwashed to the point where they are sick and they're
You
doing
are exactly
behaviors
right.
that are just
Yeah.
not good for that obviously don't make any sense, right? And so
Tom,
here's
sorry.
right. So I look at it, right. Here's a handicapped person, right, that needs probably help. You know, somehow to get to a point where they have some. Oh man, it just sucks, man.
I know. No, in fact, your show is the first place I've ever heard you say that concept where these people, it's not that we should be angry at them because you had said that it's a sickness.
Yeah,
And when
we're
I
on the
started
same
seeing
team.
it that way, it creates a more gentle outlook, but
It still makes you mad, though, right? I
it
mean,
kind of does. I guess it depends on the people you run into out there. Like the
yeah,
lady at the bookstore I told you about, where she had her snarky little comment telling us, "Thanks for wearing a mask." It's like, thanks for the tyranny. I could have
yeah,
said so many things to her, but
yeah. They don't
walk
realize it.
away. Walk away,
Let me
and
read this.
Alex, oh, hi, Alex. I love Alex. He
Yeah,
said the
me
masks
too.
are also to break people's spirits.
Yeah,
And
of
that's
course.
key because that
Let
is
me read
another
this.
thing because you see people with masks and that's the sign of slavery.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to say.
Well, yeah. I mean, even in the Old Testament, they say you're not even supposed to muzzle an animal that's plowing the fields. You let
Right.
him eat, right? You
Right.
don't you don't even muzzle an animal if he's doing work for you or plowing or whatever the crops you let him eat. So if
Yeah.
you're not going to put a muzzle on an animal, right? Then it's
Then
pretty
then we're
sick.
putting muzzles on ourselves. It makes us less than
Yeah.
animals. It really does look that way.
Sure, that's how they
And
view us. I mean, this is it. That is what they're doing.
yeah.
We're lower than those animals.
And there people are trying to have ingenuity and they have like cheetah colored masks and stuff, and
Oh
it's
my
just
God.
like, really, now it's a style. I see what are those brand names, Nobo, or what is it? Yeah, there's all those
Yeah, big brands.
Chanel, and yeah, and
Gucci.
Louis Vuitton, and people are like making a fashion out of it.
I mean,
I
that's
can't.
real.
I just can't with that. I can't. It's
That's
stupid.
real. That's absolutely
Yeah.
real.
But you're hiding the biggest thing that I
Let me
noticed.
let me read some scripture real quick because I always want to read them if someone puts the effort to put them in chat.
Absolutely.
So two scriptures in a row. John chapter 12, verse 25. He that loveth his life shall lose it, and he that hath his life in the world shall keep it until
Eternal
life
life.
eternal.
Life.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it means if you love this world, right, then you're gonna lose your life. If you're
Yeah.
willing to give it up, then you will have eternal life. And
I
that's what
like Evangelist Michael's comments. He's always on point with a lot of that.
absolutely, absolutely. Talk about an important person planting seed, you
Yeah.
know, and Deb
Yeah.
does that too, you know.
Oh,
So
Deb. I love Deb.
Alex, Alex, oh yeah, First Timothy chapter 5 verse 18. For the scripture saith, "Thou shalt not muzzle the ox that treadeth
Right.
out the corn, and the labor is worthy of his reward." That's exactly what I was thinking of. That's the scripture that popped in my
That's the
head.
one we were talking about.
There's
Right.
also there's also one in Job, right? That says, "Don't mask the judges," right? And
Mm-hmm.
so, okay, it's kind of a deeper spiritual concept, but if you think of we judge angels, right?
Right.
In the in the afterlife, right? That has like some connotation for that. If someone could post that one, that would be amazing. Because I don't want to paraphrase scripture, you know.
Ah,
But
right, right.
there's one in Job that talks about masks that I
Because
think totally applies.
you don't want to misquote it. I know.
No,
And you know the thing that I miss the most, Stephen, ever since this whole mask,
mm-hmm,
what do you call it? When
yeah,
people go crazy,
right,
hysteria. I'm going to call it a mask hysteria, a mass hysteria. Um, I I miss seeing people's smiles. I miss seeing their
yeah,
expressions, and I almost think that was intentional, is to remove our ability to relay our emotions facially. You know, people
yeah.
have such beautiful faces out there,
There is a
and
huge
when
psychological impact. You know, that's what
exactly, the
Vitaly is saying.
psychological impact of the mask has so far been underestimated. Vitally,
I call him
vitally.
Vitaly, but I've heard of people call him Vitally, but
I
I call
see the
him
word Italy
Vitaly.
in the name, so I'm like Vitally. No, I'm sorry, I'm
Right?
not making fun of your name, but that's a very good point. It is helping to destroy the society and care for one another. That's exactly what I mean. It's like when you look at somebody and you pay them a compliment, or if somebody pays you a compliment, the look of appreciation, the look
Yeah.
of love, the look of joy, all those looks are gone from everything and everybody I see around me now, and I can't stand it. I just I like I
Oh,
even the stuff like sadness or something. I can't pick up on when somebody's really starting to hurt now.
absolutely,
Alex made the
absolutely.
quote on
Oh yeah.
there.
So he did scripture, and also I want to say to Evangelist Michael, there is one in Revelation that speaks of horse bridles, but that's like God getting revenge, right? And it's like the blood will rise to the bridles of the horse, right? That's how much blood there
Yeah,
will be. It's a pretty gruesome scripture, but it's very descriptive as how much God hates evil, right? But
yeah,
Alex did put this in here, and I'm glad he did. It's Job chapter 9, verse 24. The earth is given unto into the hand of the wicked.
wicked.
He
Yeah,
covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Now think about
yep.
that. The first time I heard that was from a guy named Mind of God. Um, I don't like the name of his channel, and me and him are not friends. We have different beliefs
Doesn't mean you
on
can't learn something from him.
when right. This one hit me like right in the heart when he said it. But we have big differences on like um, salvation and who's eligible to be saved and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
so I wish we didn't, because those were some of the better shows, right? Like some of the good shows. But
Yeah,
there's only so much that you can disagree on.
yeah,
There's some things you just can't
yeah.
disagree on. If I'm still
Teresa
talking
said,
to you,
"Oh, go ahead."
yeah. If I'm still talking to somebody about, whether or not we're saved by faith in Jesus, right, or whether we're saved by making it till the end, right? Like then it took me my whole life to figure out the truth about salvation, right? And it
Yeah,
took me my whole life to figure out these things that I know. I'm not going to go
Yeah.
backwards, right? And so,
Always moving forward. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you got to, right? Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
no, I
there's
agree.
there's other things that I know, right, or that I'm very sure of. But even if I'm 90% where I know, I don't just dig my foot in and say, this is it. And, that I leave open, right? If it's a 50-50 thing that is not going to matter too much, it's more important to the body to be together, right? Then okay, we can discuss these things, right? But when it comes to
Yeah.
salvation, when it comes to, you know, these types of things, right? Why go backwards once you know, right? Like flat earth,
Yeah.
right? Like um flat
All the
earth,
things we work for
salvation.
to learn and become,
Yeah,
you just reverse that. It's a waste of time.
yeah.
I hear you. I love.
It, but I'll tell you what, like I do respect people all being at different levels, right? And I don't think people get like how hard that is for me to have to. I understand, like I don't know if I'm cursed or if it's a gift or whatever. About I can usually see both sides of everything, and
Yeah.
even if somebody's wrong, I can see kind of how you got there, you know.
You try to
But
put yourself in their shoes sometimes.
well, sure, and that's fine, right? But then I'll get one group of people say, "No, you need to do this because this is what's right," and then I'll have another group of people, and they'll say the same thing, and they think they're right too,
And
with just as much force and just as much confidence, right? Now, I'm
exactly.
committed. I'm committed to what I feel the truth is. I'm committed to my own. I won't negotiate that, right? If I know something 100%, I'm not going to debate it or negotiate it.
Yeah.
But if I don't know 100%, right? If it's just a strong, like I don't know that China is even there, but I have a strong belief that it's there.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Because
Yeah,
I,
you
I have I haven't been there. I don't know how long
when
it
you've been
takes to get
lied to
there.
for so long, it's hard to really
Right,
know what to believe.
right. And I know that sounds ridiculous because I'm like 99% sure that it's there because there's people from there, people have seen it, there's pictures, right? There's a lot of stuff, right? But do I personally know? That's where I draw the line, right? Because I'm very
Unless
careful
you
about that, especially
Well,
biblically, right?
that's a good concept. I mean, if you remember when you're in the military, I don't know if you had gone on TDY or deployed
Oh,
or was
TDY,
sent
yeah.
somewhere. Yeah, did you ever get told like, well, we won't know if we're really going for sure until boots are on the ground?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell
That's
you what,
that's basically saying until you're there, you don't know.
I did all the SRP, right? For
Uh-huh.
all the people that were the soldiers readiness program, right? The where you run through that line of like medical stuff, records, that kind of thing,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so I didn't have like a high security clearance, right? I didn't have a security clearance at all, I don't think. And they would never tell me when the planes were going to leave, right? They would say,
Oh
okay,
yes.
right, right. So they'd say, be
You
here
could
at
not
3
call
a.m.
somebody and discuss a schedule over the phone because it could be
Yeah,
tapped,
well,
right?
so this is what they do. They would be like, and I was the only SRP guy, right? Because they didn't cross train that position. They just kept giving it to me. And
Right.
so they would say, okay, well, the flights are going to leave at 3 a.m. Then I get there at 3 a.m. Oh, okay, come back at 7 a.m. Then I come back at 7 a.m. Oh, no, 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 they're going to leave at 1, right? So
Yeah.
I would never know which time they were actually going to fly out or leave or whatever.
That's done purposely.
Of course, because they don't want
Yeah.
any leaks. Yeah, and so, but so if that's what you're asking, yes, I've been in situations like that where they can't tell you till boots are on the ground.
Well, it's a wholesome example of you don't when you don't know what to believe, you just don't believe it until you're actually there experiencing it. And I can
Yeah,
understand, I know what you're in. And then if you talk to somebody that's like, well, I've been there, I've seen it. Well, then how well do you know that person? You start questioning like, okay, do I trust that that person has actually been there? Maybe, but I
yeah,
I hear you. And I wanted to say, Alex, I love how you can pick up on little passive aggressive
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
characteristics of people. Alex said he loves to go in the store and smile at people that look at him funny. I do the same thing. I
Like
almost do it
what?
on
What do you
purpose.
want? Like,
And yeah, I'll even go to the cashiers and joke with them, tell them like, "How do I know you're not sticking your tongue out at me under that thing? Let me see it.
yeah,
Show me." show me your
Yeah.
smile. And I've actually I've had jokes with my son, like, let's see how many people we could get to pull off their mask. And I'll tell him, like, I got three at one store visit one time. It was at the Dollar Tree. And my son got one girl, and if she was like 5 years old, I'm like, that's not fair. You can't do it to a kid because they're not
Yeah.
wearing masks anyways. Because it was, the joke is, ask them for a smile, right?
Yeah.
And he got a little 5-year-old to smile at him, but she wasn't. That's another thing, the kids aren't even wearing masks
Because
anyways.
it's
I
not a real thing, man. If this
I
was a
know it's
real thing,
not, and I
this is
that's
what's
why we
crazy,
just kind
right?
of play
If
with
if
it,
it,
because
if this was a real thing, right? I would be the first one in line to get this shot. I would
right.
be the first one to do the right thing, right? If this was real in any kind of way, right?
Yeah.
Uh, but I not only, I mean,
The
I got
fact
to
that
be
it's
careful what I say,
completely
but
fabricated is,
there's a difference between um, maybe that they're mistaken about something, and there's something that's like intentionally, nefarious to hurt you,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like this is not contradictory statistics. This is not them not knowing what they're doing. This is not mistakes. This is not, some kind of bad way of handling it, right? This is
Right.
strategically meant to harm us.
Well, and Teresa made a comment
The hotel.
earlier
I'm
that
talking about
there's,
the hotel.
oh,
Go ahead.
the hotel.
Right. I
Oh,
had
okay.
to say, yeah. Go
Oh,
ahead.
okay. I
Yeah.
just I was thinking about Teresa's comment she made a little bit ago about the lack of empathy, and how we're losing
Yes.
that amongst ourselves and people, and we're losing our humanity, brother. That's what makes me, I guess, most frustrated.
Well, think about this, right? There's very few people, right, that think like us. Even like there are people out there that like they laugh when they're messing with people, man.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they get some kind of joy out of like picking on people, man.
Oh
Like,
my gosh, my husband deals with that all the time,
yeah,
and
so I
he
mean,
doesn't
like,
understand it.
yeah, I don't get it at all, right? I don't like to play games like that with people, and
Well,
it's just so odd to me that there's all these people that like crave to do something to
to
make
hurt
someone else
somebody.
uncomfortable
Yeah.
intentionally, right? And
Yeah.
you're like, what is wrong with people, man? But not only is it happening, it's the overwhelming majority of people are like that.
Well, have you ever seen where people almost get obsessed with jacking with you? I mean, I know you
Yeah,
must know what this is like. It's like they have it out for you after a while, and it's like,
sure.
what did I do to that person personally?
Yeah.
That, or, and then you get those
Write
comments
a
like,
list
oh,
of the
it's
things I did to
jealousy
you.
or it's envy.
Well, I
But
mean, maybe
it
it's
just,
that, maybe it's envy, but
no, it
I'll
just seems
consider
like a
that.
rotten spirit sometimes. It's like, come
Yeah,
on, please stop.
yeah. It's like
There's,
just because I don't want someone over here, right? They gotta flip out, you know.
yeah,
And so
it,
it's like just like I don't know, but I don't know what drives somebody. Maybe it is envy. But I don't like to ever say that somebody's envious of me because it feels like I'm boasting about something, and I'm not.
right.
I'm just a guy barely making it, and sometimes I feel like God works through me, and there's a couple
Yeah.
of couple of moments there where you can see it yourself, right? And I do care about everybody. It's so it's a behavior I do every single day for a lot of days in a row.
I think I
It's
think
hard
some
work.
people are just hate hate. Shulamite said, Teresa, thank you. She said hatred is a thing, and I almost started on that comment. The same thought is that hate is such an easy thing for our flesh to covet.
Yeah,
Our It's so easy for us to be sinful, and everything that comes from this world. And I think that, if anything, people that act that way, they're just giving in to the easy urges that comes with being a part of this world. We as
yeah,
Christians, we have the self-discipline. We want to have more self-discipline to avoid being that kind of angry, that kind of hateful, that kind of, we don't want to be nasty, we don't want to be abusive, we
Yeah.
don't want to be vindictive. So we avoid all those kind of traits. But for some people, they don't see it as that. They see it as, this is how I feel and I'm going to express it, damn it. And they do.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
Yeah.
no self control. The Bible says we must exercise self control, and, only fools, they just, the foolish people are the ones that unleash their first emotion, and they have no restraint, none.
Yeah.
And that's what I think of when I see people do things like that to you. People do it to my husband all the time, and
Yeah.
it's just because he's a quiet guy.
Yeah.
I don't know, is he an easy target because he's a quiet guy? I don't think that's fair. Just because he's
Me
not saying
neither.
anything doesn't mean he's being mean.
Yeah.
I see where you're coming from, brother.
It's insane, man. It's
It's
just insane how
people,
people are. Yeah, it is.
people
So
being
look,
people.
but look, when you start hearing things like there's a narrow road, few will find it.
Yeah,
That's just the way it is.
right,
Whether it's comfortable or not to think that, I want everybody to make it, of course, right? But this is
right.
reality. Let me read what Tom put down. Um,
Tom, I just was reading that First Corinthians. Yeah.
would you like to read it?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I almost started reading it with Tom's little, in the way Tom says it. First Corinthians. Oh, I won't do that. First
No.
Corinthians I'm sorry, chapter 13, verse 13. And now abideth faith,
Yep.
hope,
Yep.
charity. These three, but the greatest of these is charity. And
Yeah.
and that's kind of like the things that we as Christians try to, when we read our scriptures regularly, we have that in the forefront of our mind. I think it helps, that it keeps us disciplined. People that don't read scripture, people that don't follow Christ and don't have any kind of discipline, they're the ones who unleash everything other
Mhm.
than faith, hope, and charity.
What
And
it what bothers me sometimes is that there'll be even people that proclaim that they're even Christian people, man.
yeah,
But
yeah.
but but they're not,
But
man.
those are the people that are only using scripture as a tool to manipulate
Yeah, because you can
what
see
they
their
want.
fruit, man. You can see
The fruit, yes.
the symbolism and the yeah. You can break everything down.
Yeah. No,
Anyway,
that's
so
true.
it's time to round out. It was, I mean,
It's
I didn't mind going over today. It's only a half hour over, but I didn't mind because it was going good and I wanted, to keep it going.
no, it's a good talk, brother, and I'm happy to join you anytime. I just,
Yeah.
now I
And,
gotta, like Tom said, it's time to make some bacon and pancakes.
uh,
Whoever
and
wants
so,
some, come on over. Cold
and
Springs is
so,
north of Reno.
and so we got to be careful about joking about people, within the group or something like that, just in case anybody see, like, I know that sucks, man,
No, I
but we gotta, because like here's the thing, because like that person will see the trolls version of it and think it's
uh-huh.
something other than what it's intended to be. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
So
do.
like if Clutch said like Steve has horrible feet or something, right? He's probably just joking, right? If he said that to me, that's what I know his intentions, right? Are harmless, right? But the trolls version of that, oh look what Clutch said about his feet, man. And I knew a story that he told me a long time ago about feet. And then, their lie on top of it, right? And then
And
next
then it
thing you know,
avalanches into something horrible.
right. And then, someone gets their feelings hurt because not everybody's at the same, like, there's different areas to be mature, right? You can be mentally mature, spiritually mature, emotionally mature, right? Sometimes there's,
Absolutely.
we're not good at no one's good at all of them, right? There's always going to be something that we're all going to need help with, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
so I think that as a family, we're gonna take things wrong and fight and all this kind of stuff. And it's nobody's fault. It just is what it is, right? As long as everybody's intention is to care for one another,
Absolutely.
that's what it's gonna come down to. Because I love those quiet mornings when there's no fights, and
Yes.
right afterwards, I feel so happy.
It
And
sets the tone for a great day or a great evening. And
oh,
that's
it
why I
sure
love
does.
listening to your show. When I used to
Yeah,
listen to it while I was driving to and from work, it just like it sets the tone. You get fired up and you're like, I'm on a positive note. That's yeah,
that makes
I
me
know what you
feel happy.
mean.
That makes me
Bless
feel
Clutch's
happy.
heart.
You saying that, because that's exactly what this is, you know, being
Yeah,
in reality, thinking about God, right? And having people plant seeds, and hopefully a new sheep will see that, you know.
absolutely.
And that's what I hope. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna round out. Thank you, Shannon, for being on. Outstanding.
Absolutely.
Great work
Well, love you
today.
guys and love
Yeah,
everybody. Love you,
yeah.
brother, for what you're doing. I
Thank you so
really
much.
appreciate you.
God bless you. And then I'll say, praise Jesus for his sacrifice and his grace. He's the hero in the story. And
Amen.
all glory to God, right? I mean, goes without saying. And then pray for the children, please. And I will see you guys tonight at 5 p.m. See you
Amen.
later.